The story of the ATM PIN code begins in the late 1960s, a time when banking was slow, manual, and filled with long queues. People depended completely on bank staff for every transaction. Weekends meant no cash access. Emergencies meant helplessness. And the idea of a machine that dispensed money sounded like science fiction, but one man wanted to change that. His name was John Shepherd-Barron, a Scottish inventor with a mind full of ideas and a passion for solving everyday problems. One day, while sitting at home frustrated by a closed bank branch, he had an epiphany. What if people could access cash anytime, without human help? A machine. A simple machine that verified identity and gave money instantly. That was the birth of the world's first ATM concept. But immediately, a major question appeared. How would the machine recognize the person using it? How would it know the customer was real? How could it authenticate identities safely and quickly? John started working on a secret code system. He believed that the safest option would be a numerical PIN, a personal identification number. And his early mathematical research showed that 6 digits offered the perfect balance between security and usability. Fewer combinations could be guessed. More digits meant harder cracking, and banks loved the idea. 6 digits appeared perfect. Strong enough to protect money. Simple enough for a responsible customer. But before finalizing the design, John decided to test it on the most honest critic he knew, his wife, Carolyn. John presented the idea proudly. He explained the logic of 6 digits. He told her it was safer, more reliable, more secure. But Carolyn didn't respond with excitement. She paused, she hesitated. And then she said something that would change world history forever. She told John she couldn't remember 6 digits. Not easily, not consistently. And she believed millions of people would struggle the same way. It was a simple comment, a small moment. But that moment would rewrite global banking standards. John was shocked at first. He had worked on the idea for months. He had convinced banks. He had convinced colleagues. But one person, his wife, pointed out the single flaw he never noticed. The human brain. People forget. People confuse numbers. People panic at machines. A complicated PIN would scare customers away. This led John to test shorter PIN lengths. He tried 5 digits. He tried 4 digits. He tried 3. He tested friends, family, neighbors, and colleagues. And again, one length kept winning. 4 digits. People remembered 4 digits naturally. They processed them quickly. They recognized them instantly. No stress, no confusion, no hesitation. 4 digits became the sweet spot between memory and security. And even though banks wanted maximum protection, John argued that a system only works if people can realistically use it. And 4 digits were universally comfortable. That single decision shaped by Caroline's honest reaction became the foundation of ATM authentication, a global standard, a rule followed by billions. All because one woman refused to pretend she remembered 6 numbers. 4-digit PINs entered the world quietly. At first, only a handful of ATMs existed. A few customers used them. Many people doubted the idea. Some feared the machines. Others didn't trust automation. But something surprising happened. Within a few months, ATM usage skyrocketed. The public loved the simplicity. They loved the convenience. They loved the speed. And they especially loved the easy 4-digit PIN. The system worked so well that banks began adopting it globally. From the UK to the US, from Europe to Asia, everywhere, 4 digits became the standard. It became so universal that people started assuming it was a natural law of banking. But behind that universal standard was one living room conversation in Scotland. A conversation that shaped modern finance. As ATM networks expanded, researchers began studying human memory more deeply. Their findings confirmed Caroline's instinct. Short-term memory typically holds around 7 items. But when under stress like standing in front of a machine, the average person performs far worse. 4 digits consistently scored the highest recall rate across all ages. 4 digits also aligned perfectly with the design of early ATM keypads. But what about security? Did 4 digits reduce safety? Technically, yes. 6 digits offer 1,000,000 possible combinations. 4 digits offer 10,000. But ATM systems compensate with lockouts. If someone enters the wrong code repeatedly, the card gets blocked, which means the shorter PIN never becomes a major risk. Banks also discovered something else important. People prefer consistency. They don't want to remember different PIN lengths for different machines. So once 4 digits became popular, the world adopted it fully. Today, billions of people use 4-digit PINs without knowing the real history behind it. A history built not by technology, not by banking laws, not by scientific research, but by a simple human moment inside a home. This story reminds us that sometimes the biggest global standards come from the smallest decisions. A conversation, a suggestion, a personal limitation that becomes a universal rule. Every time you tap your ATM card, every time you type your PIN, every time you withdraw money, you're using a system designed for human comfort rather than pure security. And that system exists because Carolyn Shepherd-Barron preferred 4 digits over 6. It's a reminder that human behavior matters, design matters, simplicity matters, and sometimes the smallest human habits shape the biggest financial systems. So the next time you enter your 4-digit PIN, remember this story. A global standard was born not from banking experts, but from one woman who simply said, "I can't remember 6 numbers," and that honest answer changed the world. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more mind-blowing financial history, and share this video with someone who still forgets their PIN. See you in the next story.